So, you want to start making music?
I can tell you there is nothing more fun than that. But where do you start? And do you need all of this? Absolutely not. Hey, my name is Lo. I'm a full-time film composer for over 20 years. I've written music for shows that ended up on Hulu, Netflix, HBO, and many more. And today I'm going to make this video to help you decide on everything you need if you want to start making and recording your own music. The first thing you're going to need is a computer. Well, any computer built in the last 5 years will be more than capable for music production. All the classic albums from the late 90s and early 2000s, they were made on computers that didn't even have half the power of your phone. To give you a good example, I just went to Nicaragua for 2 months and I did not bring my normal computer, but I brought this MacBook Air. This is the cheapest computer you can buy from Apple right now. I wrote the music for a feature documentary. I did 2 live streams for more than 2 hours and I edited 4 4K videos on it. So for computers, you probably have what you need right now and your creativity is more powerful than your processor. Now you need to choose a DAW. This is a very hard choice. If I would make the decision to start all over again, there's many DAWs to choose from, so let's pare it down a bit. Let's start here. I like to divide them in 2 categories. You got your linear DAWs and your non-linear DAWs. First of all, they all can do anything, but some shine better at certain areas. Linear DAWs are your classic timeline-based DAWs. The most well-known ones are like Pro Tools, Cubase, Studio One. They're designed with a traditional recording studio workflow in mind. You see the music in front of you from beginning to end, and you're working in a fixed timeline. This is great for recording bands, film scores, anything with a structured workflow. It encourages planning, precision, and editing. You could describe them as a tape machine-like DAW. Then you've got your non-linear DAWs like Ableton, Bitwig, FL Studio. These are built for experimentation. Instead of forcing you into a timeline, they let you play around with ideas and loops and clips and make you put your music together almost like musical Lego. You can improvise and trigger ideas live. You can build songs from the inside out rather than from beginning to end. They're amazing for electronic music, beat making, sound design. The workflow encourages spontaneity and exploration first and structure later. You might describe these as instrumental DAWs. They feel like you're playing the software like an instrument more than just recording with it. Well, after hearing all of this, you might already have an idea of what fits you better. But my advice is, if you have friends that make music, choose the DAW they are using. This way you can learn from each other and collaborate on projects together. There is no way to learn faster than that. What DAW do I use? Well, because of my ADHD brain, I work in a 3 DAW system. I use Bitwig as my experimental canvas. I use Cubase to really work out the music and work out the cues. Then I export everything out and I work in Pro Tools where I do the last mixing and editing before sending it out to the client. But this is not needed at all. You should just stick with one DAW. Once you pick your DAW, stick with it. There is no wrong choice. All DAWs can do anything. Learn your DAW inside out. Learn all the tricks, all the shortcuts. So to recap, if you're looking for a more classic timeline-based DAW, look at Logic, Cubase, Pro Tools, Studio One. If you're looking for a DAW that plays more like an instrument, look at Bitwig, Ableton, or FL Studio. Now we have our computer and our DAW. But how do we get our musical ideas in our computer? For that, we need our MIDI keyboards. Here, I accumulated many over times. So what is this? Just a couple of keys to play things into the computer. Really, don't overthink this. You can always buy something better later on. Start with something simple. If you look at Marketplace, like something like this, you can buy for like under 50 bucks. As long as it has a USB, you're good to go. Audio interface. What does it do? It makes it possible to get high-end quality sound in and out of your computer. This has inputs for your microphones, guitars and other instruments, and outputs for your speakers and your headphones. This is what connects all your equipment together. In the last 10 years, the quality of these went up a tremendous amount. You basically can't go wrong anymore. Any audio interface for $200 and up will sound fantastic. You can make it as expensive as you want, but just look at what you really need, and even this totally middle of the road Focusrite Scarlett sounds perfect. But if you're a singer or an instrumentalist, or you're interested in making your own sounds, you're gonna need a microphone. There's three main types of microphones. Dynamic mics, large diaphragm condenser mics, and small diaphragm condenser mics. Dynamic microphones. These mics are the workhorses of your studio. They're cheap, they're used on every album out there. They're tough, you could probably hammer nails with it and they would still work. They're great for loud instrument, drums, guitars. They have a lot of character and they're really easy to mix in. They're great for more aggressive sounding music, and I sometimes even re-record my own songs through this just because it has so much character. If you want to picture, dynamic mics are kind of like your old school pickup. Nothing fancy, but a hell of a lot of fun to drive, and they get the job done every single time. The SM58 has a secret trick up their sleeves. If you pick up an SM58 and you screw the top off, now we got an SM57. The only difference between the SM58 and the SM57 is the top of the mic. So if you pick one of these up, you have two different microphones in one, and they will never break. Large diaphragm condenser mics. They're excellent for vocals, acoustic instruments, or anything you want warmth and present. They have more low-end body and they give that larger than life sound. They pick up everything, all your background noises. If your room sounds bad, this mic will sound bad. And you can describe it as the high definition camera in the audio world. Then you have your small diaphragm condenser mic, also called pencil mics. They're great for acoustic guitars, strings, pianos, percussion. They're often sold in a pair. And they are great for capturing beautiful stereo imaging. They're kind of like your audio microscopes. They hear everything. So you can say, dynamic microphones capture energy, large diaphragm condenser microphones capture character, and your small diaphragm condenser mics capture detail. Now we're gonna get a bit more controversial. Speakers or headphones? If you read all the forums online, there is a lot of loudmouths out there that say you can only mix on speakers and headphones sound like rubbish. First of all, it's absolutely not true. I have mixed many projects on headphones and they sound really good. I travel a couple of months out of the year and every project I made in that time are all mixed on headphones. I dare to say your speakers only sound as good as the room they're in. If you see people boasting about how good their $5,000 speakers sound and the room is not treated, those speakers will sound as good or maybe even worse than a set of $200 speakers in that same room. So please start off with headphones. What do you need? You don't need the most expensive pair, but what matters is that you have headphones with a flat frequency response. You need studio grade headphones. They're sounding more boring, but they will help you make the right decisions while mixing. You cannot use your Bose or Beats headphones. They're tuned for listening to music and not mixing music. Their response is not fast enough and they're often hyped in the lows and the highs, which will mislead you and you will mix your music wrong. So buy them at a music store. All their headphones will be studio headphones. And when you walk in, they're gonna ask you, do you want open back or closed back? What does that mean? Let's start with open back headphones. They all let air in and out through the cups. They sound more natural and have a wider stereo image. And they give you less ear fatigue if you're working on it for a longer time. They are perfect for mixing and critical listening environments. The downside is they leak sound in and out. So if you're in a noisy space, it will be really noisy. Also, people that are sitting next to you are going to hear exactly what you're listening to. Then you have your closed back mics. They isolate themselves from the outside world. They are great for recording vocals or instruments because the music you're listening to is not getting picked up with the microphone you're recording in. Also, they are great in noisy environments because they're closed, so they block the outside sound off. But they will exaggerate the low end and will feel a little bit boxed in. If you can afford both, the ideal combo is a set of closed back headphones for recording and open back headphones for mixing. If you just want one pair, I would start with closed back. You can take them everywhere and in general they're more durable. I have been mixing on these M50Xs for more than 10 years and I really know their sound. I know their weaknesses and because of that I can get a really good mix out of them and they're only like $150. But go into a music store, have a listen to a couple of different headphones and decide which ones sound best for you. I personally mix inside the studio with my Hi-Fi-Man Sundaras, and when I'm traveling or recording instruments, I use the M50X. Now you got all this gear and you really want to make your room look and feel like a real studio. So you buy yourself some speakers. If I would do it all over again, I would buy a low to mid-tier set of speakers first, and with the money I save, I would buy room treatment. The great thing about room treatment is you don't have to buy it all at once. You can slowly buy one piece at a time, and you can make a lot of it yourself as well. Even hanging a few thick blankets or panels on the wall make a massive difference. And by the time you have some decent room treatment, that's when you can invest in the good high-end speakers. Because remember, $200 speakers in a treated room will sound way better than $2,000 speakers in an untreated room. But by now you're probably a couple of years in. So to sum it all up, a laptop, a cheap MIDI keyboard and a good pair of headphones is all you need to start making music. Don't chase the shiny thing and just keep creating, because quantity leads to quality. If you're interested in what you need to do to stay creative, watch this video, or if you're interested in a beginner's course in Bitwig, you can sign up in the link below, and I'll catch you next time.